They say that you shouldn't judge a book by its cover, although maybe you should judge a book if it's a book about designing book covers. Anyway, when it comes to film, time and time again, movie posters simply lie to us. They present situations that either don't happen in the film or even have any basis in our laws of reality. But still they come out. So what I've decided to do today, just for a little bit of a laugh, is compile some of my favourites, the most egregious of crazy design choices, for you today in a little gallery. With this in mind, I'm Jules for WhatCulture.com, and these are 10 movie posters that blatantly lied to you. And it's just a bit of fun. Number 10, Escape from New York. The Escape from New York poster is iconic, to say the least, what with the Statue of Liberty's head all broken and destroyed on the floor and our heroes running away being chased by an angry mob. It's a symbol of the American dream being destroyed. Yet nothing like this happens in the film. In fact, you actually see the Statue of Liberty and she's looking okay actually, all things considered. Here she looks like she's lying broken in the street after being out in Gateshead until 1 AM. In fact, nothing of this level of destruction happens, and its portrayal of the film is about as accurate as Kurt Russell's firing is in the picture. Number 9, A Bronx Tale. In film poster language, having two people squaring off against each other, growling, usually translates as meaning that there's going to be a rivalry between these two. They're going to square off at some point in the movie. That's what you'd expect looking at this poster for A Bronx Tale. The tagline even reads, "One man lives in the neighborhood, another man owns it. A devoted father battles the local crime boss for the life of his son." God, sounds pretty intense, doesn't it? But these two only share 2 scenes together in the entire film. There is no feud between them. Oh yeah, and there's no scene in which the son runs away from an explosion. In fact, the only thing that this poster gets right is the fact that it's set in the Bronx. Number 8, frogs. So when you look at this poster of a giant frog with a human hand coming out of its mouth, you can probably assume 2 things. 1, people gonna die, and 2, might contain some frogs. It looks like the kind of B-movie campy horror that we can just sit back and have a laugh with, right? Well, don't know how to break this to you, but at no point in this film called Frogs do frogs actually kill a person. And they're not even giant, they are regular, normal-sized frogs that do not kill anyone. In fact, there's loads of animals that do kill people in this film, and frogs aren't part of it. There's like birds, crocodiles, lizards, something else as well. Is there a fish? Is there a fish that attacks it? Spiders, leeches, and alligators? Bloody hell. In fact, the only scene that you could say that a frog kills somebody is when a regular frog jumps out and gives somebody a heart attack. Doesn't really fit that poster, does it? Number 7, Godzilla vs. Megalon. So if you were a Godzilla fan living outside of Japan, you probably saw this and flipped your wig, because that's right, they're fighting on the Twin Towers. Off to a great start with this one. Yet this scene of these 2 giants fighting on top of the Twin Towers never happens at all. It's not even set in the US. And also there's a weird size difference. I thought that Godzilla was meant to be like, what is it in the original film? He's 163 or 4 foot tall. He's way too big for this. So much wrong with that. Number 6, Troll 2. Now, Troll 2 is infamously one of the worst horror films ever made. So bad, in fact, that it regularly appears in cinemas in bad movie nights where people just go along and have a laugh at it. So I do feel sorry for anyone who had to work on the marketing side of this. They did try their best, though, to their credit. But how they did it is a bit weird, because that creature, the thing that's in the middle, front and center, that you would assume to be the troll, or Troll 2 in this case, doesn't exist. It never appears in the film at all. They made up a creature just to entice people in. You have to work with what you got. I know that every bloody day. Number 5, Friday the 13th, Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan. Now, the poster itself is actually pretty awesome. However, if the title was being honest, it would be Friday the 13th, Part 8, Jason Takes a Boat towards Manhattan. I mean, it does take him a lot of time to actually get there, and even when he does, it's pretty near the end of the film. So technically, the film does live up to its name, but still, this missold quite a lot of what was going on. Up to an hour on a boat. So, very different type of film that you get from watching this. based on that. Number 4, Camp Hell. Camp Hell, not just a place that I'm going to go to when I die, but also a terrible horror film about a spiritual retreat starring Jesse Eisenberg. Did you know that Jesse Eisenberg's in this film? I mean, his face is here, and his name is the top. In fact, it looks like he's the only person in this film. He's in it for about 5 minutes, maybe less. I can't even defend the marketing team for this because they clearly did this because it was released in 2010, just when he was hitting his white-hot status, and basically just sold the entire film on the fact that he was in it. That's pretty shameful. It was so bad, in fact, that he took out a $3 million lawsuit against them to basically warn people that he wasn't in the film that much, and he didn't want his name attached to it as largely as it was. Having a giraffe, mate. Number 3, Undisputed. So just from this poster alone, you'd assume that Undisputed is something like, I don't know, like a Lethal Weapon buddy cop action movie, right? Well, not only is that the wrong type of vibe, it's the wrong fucking genre. And just for the record, even though the entire poster is made up pretty much of one single explosion, not a single explosion happens in the entire movie. You're welcome. I mean, there is a helicopter, but it doesn't do anything. Number 2, Return to Oz. Now, Return to Oz is a strange beast because it's one of the most terrifying things that I ever watched growing up as a kid. But they needed to make sure that people understood that it was a sequel to The Wizard of Oz, so kind of went with this image. If you're going into it based on this image alone, you're going to think of it as being a family-friendly, fun little romp that we had the first time around. Oh no. All you get in exchange are nightmares. They've also really heavily pushed the Tin Man and the Cowardly Lion on the front of this, and they're not in it for very much at all. They basically wanted to trade on the glory of the past, the massive, huge success of the first film. What we got instead was just something that will make your hair fall out at age 13. Number 1, Fantastic Four. So Josh Trank's action movie actually contains very little action. In fact, when there is any, it's set in that weird dimension that they go to, which is just grey and filled with green goo. So Fox, understanding that they needed to get people enticed into their film, realised that grey and green goo probably wasn't going to sell it, so they decided to just lie through their teeth. Every piece of promotional poster that came out, every single one of these images shows a city being absolutely decimated in some way. Not a single city is destroyed in the film. So if you were expecting some sort of Avengers-style battle for New York, you ain't gonna get it. Avengers battle, green goo. And there we go, that was my silly little gallery. Let me know what you thought about it down in the comments section below. And as always, I've been Jules, you've been awesome. I hope you enjoyed this. It was just meant to be a bit of silly fun, and I'll speak to you soon.